Leading the Dow, ExxonMobil, United Technology is the biggest loser. On the S&P, Lowe's was the big winner, while CenturyLink was the biggest decliner. Mike, unchanged, really not too seemingly worried about what's happening with President Trump and his legal issues.
Yeah, pretty perfect illustration of how the market is kind of shrugging at all this, or at least maintaining a wait and see. Let me wait for something that looks tangible, that has policy, economic, or electoral implications before we try to price it in. I also think that even without any of the headlines, this is understandable kind of market action. The market's up 6% by the S&P in about 8 weeks. That's a decent move. You kind of flirted with the all-time highs, and it's the natural place to hesitate. So, great retail stock picture, some interesting things going on underneath the surface, energy bouncing, but on the whole, a very subdued session.
I mean, turbulence around the president heading into the midterm elections, Nancy. Every single guest we talked to about this today, and we put it in a CNBC.com headline now, says it's going to have to be a lot worse to take down the stock market.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I actually remember where I was when President Nixon resigned, so that's a little revelatory. And it was a much different economy at that time. What we're counting on is that margins are going to continue to be strong and potentially expand, given lower inflation, productivity, interest rate. So we think unit labor costs are going to be better than expected as we move forward, and we think that's going to continue to drive this. But it's not going to continue at this pace. It's going to be choppy between now and the midterms, I believe, Sarah. And I think investors it's going to matter which stocks you own and in which sector.
Choppy, but no 20% or so downshift. I mean, it's officially in the books, Mike. This is the longest bull market on record.
Let me quibble with it about the official part.
Is it really?
There's no central rulemaking body that decides what
we haven't had the 20% bear market.
But we haven't closed above the January high. So let's say there's a chance that we go down 20% before we make a new closing high. It meant the bull market ended 6.5 months ago. I don't want to really push this sort of quibble, but that's if we're going to talk about official, we have to go by the rules.
And when did the last one start? Was it 1990 or 1987?
Exactly. But to your point, assuming the market does not collapse before it goes up 0.5% again, then yes, today would be the day that it gets to become the longest.
Which makes us all wonder, Nancy, how much more is left?
Yeah, I think, look, we're sort of expecting another 12 to 18 months out of this thing. I don't think it's going to be spectacular. I think it'll be high single digits, but there is room in individual stocks. And you saw that with the retailers this last week. Many of the all the stocks that did extremely well were the stocks that had underperformed up until that point. And then you had Home Depot and Macy's who surprised, but no one cared because they'd already had strong runs. So valuation, I think, is going to matter. And I don't think the tech trade is over, despite what many people are saying.